بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. To continue in the study of تذكرة السامع والمتكلم of Ibn Jamaah rahimahullah, we have reached the last chapter of the book, in which the author rahimahullah, he discusses the affair of the institutes of knowledge and living there. He says, point number 2, that the teacher in these institutes be one who is of nobility and virtue, and that he is upright in his religion, and he has intellect, and he is one who is looked highly to and honored, and that he is intelligent and just and he's upright, and that he loves the noble people, and that he is compassionate towards the weak, and he brings closer those who want to benefit, and he makes those who are occupied with seeking knowledge desire, and he distances those who are not serious and are playing around, and he is just and upright, giving the rights to those who return to him in trying to study this knowledge. And he is also eager upon benefiting them. He is eager upon constantly benefiting, and the rest of his manners as preceded. So this is how the teacher in these institutes should be. He should be one of piety, and one who is intelligent, and one who is looked up to and honored. What he intends by these different institutes, the author intends, rahimahullah, is that back in the day they had institutes which were basically given as a form of endowment, and they were placed there just to be institutes, and they would have these teachers who would also live there. But this is general as well to any institutes, that when you want to go to an institute to seek knowledge, that the teacher have these characteristics, that he be one who has knowledge, as we mentioned first and foremost in our previous classes about the teacher's manners, and secondly that he be from those who is pious and has intellect and intelligent, and he loves good for the people, and he desires good for the students. Then he says, if this teacher, as for the one when the author mentions that he distances those who play around and are not serious, because those who generally play around too much and they're not serious, and it is known from them to be playful and not paying concern to knowledge, then it is most of the times the outcome of them is that they do not become from those who are successful in their path to seek knowledge, for they are known to be too playful, and they do not take things serious, so they do not benefit. Then he says, if he has a ma'id, one who is an associate or helper. As we mentioned before, a ma'id is one, when the teacher back in the day would finish his lesson, the ma'id would sit there after the lesson and go through the lesson again with the students to further their understanding and to correct any mistakes that they may have had in their understanding. So he repeats the lesson for them. So if the teacher has one like this, then it should be from those who are upright and noble. And those who are noble and upright, patient upon the manners of the students, eager to benefit them, and for them to benefit by way of him, and that he is upright in regards to his job, in trying to occupy them with knowledge and teaching them. Then he said it's befitting for the teacher who is living in the madrasa, in the institute, that he should not come out too much without any need. He should not be out with the people without any need. For indeed doing that much takes away the honor in the sight of the people. This is an important point, and as Shaykh Salih al-Usaymin and other scholars have mentioned that the legislative evidences, they have shown that it is praiseworthy to seclude yourself from the people at times, and to not mix with them too much, except in that which there is benefit. As for other than that, then a person should be accepting upon himself and occupy himself with his own condition and be eager upon benefiting himself first and foremost. But he should not waste time with mixing with the people, whoever comes and goes, and he's constantly with them. And this is important, that this teacher is not one who mixes with the people too much, whereas they do not take him serious anymore. Rather, he should have time to himself and give himself his due right of studying and give his family the due right that they deserve, and then mix with the people in accordance to the need that is there for him to do so. Then he says he should also be persistent upon praying in the Jamaah, in that institute, so that the people who are in the institute can follow him in that, and they become accustomed to that. And this is important. How many times do you see that, yes, many of the teachers nowadays, they don't live in the madaris, in the institutes, but you find that he may be from those who don't come to the Jama'ah. He may not be seen for any of the salawat in Jama'ah for days. Not Fajr, not Asr, not Dhuhr, not Asr, not Maghrib, not Isha. You don't see him for days in Jama'ah. And the people, they start to have doubts regarding him. So it's important that the first and foremost be the one who is followed by the people, that he be the first and foremost to act regarding his knowledge. Then he says, befitting that he sits every day at a specific time, so that he can also accept with him a group who come to his lessons, that they go through their books, and that they correct their books, and that they correct that which is in need of being corrected, or they add the different harakats that need to be added, and the different languages of the book need to be corrected. And the differing of the manuscripts in different parts, he goes through that with them. And he says that the first thing is to make sure the book is correct, so that when they go through this book, they are going through it upon certainty, and they don't lose their thoughts going through it, meaning constantly thinking, is this right or is this wrong, and become tired due to doubt that may be caused from that. And this is an important point, that one should not buy books merely for the fact that the book looks good from the outer covers, and when you open up, the writing is very beautiful, but you find that at times that book may not be from those that have been checked by the scholars, or checked by those who go through these books and check them. And you find they might have many mistakes. And it's not only rare books that this occurs with, it occurs with famous books as well. And example, the mistake could be from those who have printed the book. And I remember going through Shaykh Abdul Hamid al-Hajuri's explanation of Sharh Sunnah one day, and I found a mistake in there that was a mistake that changes the meaning. And so I messaged the Shaykh and I said, is the correct wording this? And he said yes. And he didn't come across it himself. Just showing that at times that the mistake could be from the printing of the book as well. So it's important that when you go through these books, you make sure that the book is in a correct state, that there's no mistakes like that. For someone later on may think that the mistake was actually correct, and he spreads that. An example of that, Shaykh Salih Usaymi mentions that example in Al-Wasitiyya of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, and some of the different prints, when discussing the affair of Kiramat al-Awliya, the out of the ordinary affairs that occur to the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in some of the different versions of the book, or the different prints of it, it says in there that it occurs in the different groups of the ummah, whilst the correct statement is that it occurred in the Qurun al-Ummah, that in the different the different time periods of the ummah, 9 the different groups. So the difference in this is, for example, if one were to read it firaq, the different groups of the ummah, then in that the innovators have an open door to explaining it the way they want to explain it. So some of them, they've explained this to mean that the different out of ordinary affairs could be found with the different groups. And in that is entered the people of innovation. So that which they do, they say, oh, Shaykh al-Islam Taymiyya said that it could be found amongst us. So that which is happening right now is a kirama. And this is wrong. For it's known, Shaykh Salih Husaymi mentions that al-kirama, it is reliant upon al-Istiqama, being upright. And being upright is reliant upon being strict upon the Quran, upon the Sunnah and the Jamaah, holding tight to the Sunnah and the Jamaah. So a mistake like this, if someone doesn't know that this was a mistake and they didn't come across it and it wasn't checked and no one ever clarified to him, it's a mistake that perhaps he may fall into misguidance due to it. So it's important that the teacher, he corrects the book for the students when going through it with them. And it's befitting, then he says it's befitting for the ma'id of the institute that he puts forth the affairs of those who are living in it upon other than them in a specified time, or a time which has been conditioned, if he is from those who receive a wage. Now then he says, because that is aiding him so long as he is a ma'id. Or he says that other than the affairs of other than them is something which is voluntary or fard kifaya. But here is a must that he puts forward the affairs of those who are living in the madrasa. And he says that it should be told to the mudarris, the teacher, or the one who is in charge of the endowment, that he should make them aware of the one who he thinks will have much success, or is hope that he'll have a lot of success in his studies, so that they can help him more in regards to giving him money to support him, so that he's not in need of working, or he's not in need of anything other than seeking knowledge. And so his heart may open up to acceptance of knowledge, and that he seeks from them, or that they are sought from the students, to read that which they have memorized at times, that which are outlined by the madrasa. And that he repeats to them that which they are in need of understanding. So the ma'id is doing this. He is listening to your mahfudat. He is listening to that which you have memorized. He is also going through that which you have understood from the lessons and repeating it for you so that you understand correctly. And for that reason, he says he is called a ma'id. And then he says that if the one who is given this land as an endowment says that that which is memorized should be read every single month, or at specific seasons, upon all of them should be reading it, then it should be lightened for the one who is worthy of researching and thinking and going through books and debating, because that is what is praiseworthy based upon that which is being read. What he's saying here is that the intent of all of this is to understand the book so that you be from those who can understand and also teach it. So if there is a student that he is a bit further in his studies and he is stronger in his studies, and you see from him that he is understanding and that he is researching and he's going through different aspects of knowledge, that you lighten for him some of the other aspects of the madrasa, like memorization and this, from him, because he is occupied with the intent of that which he is doing. I mean, he is occupied with understanding that mahfudat, or trying to research it, or trying to further his knowledge regarding it. He says, as for the beginners and those who are not beginners, then it is sought from all of them that which is befitting their condition and their intellect and their mind. And then he says, all of the different manners of the scholar with the students, how he interacts with them, has preceded. These are extremely important points that the author, rahimahullah, he mentioned. It's important that in an institute, there be from those who memorize. An institute of knowledge should not be where you go there and there is no one to lead the salah, because none of them memorize Quran. And the sad part about this is that you find some of the masajid which have been set up to spread knowledge or whatever it may be. You find that you go there for salah and there's no one to lead the salah. We're talking about salatul sirriya, meaning salat that is not read out loud. Let alone the salah which is read out loud, you find that none of them want to lead. Why? Because of their memory being weak, maybe they don't know how to recite properly. And this is saddening. Why? Because it's important that as Ahlul Sunnah, our masajid are from those that are foremost in regards to the Quran and memorization and understanding and seeking knowledge and spreading knowledge and otherness. You'll find that some of them, they may even name their institute the Institute of Knowledge, and when it comes to salah, that the taxi driver might be leading the salah. Why? Because no one is present. There's no students. There's no knowledge spread there. So it's important that when we try to establish these masajid, that in our mind we have that these masajid or these institutes are for spreading knowledge in these cases, if that is our intention, and that we should have students who memorize, and we have students who study, and we have students who teach, and we have teachers who are teaching, and we have khutaba, those who give the sermons, and those who go out to other places to give sermons. It's important that we understand these points, that right now there's a shortage in maybe even in those who give khutbahs. You hear some of the khutbahs that the individuals they give, and you are shocked at why he is even standing on that minbar. Why is he standing there? But as if we have an institute where there is these aspects that the teacher is mentioning, then that is where the khutbah they come from. That is where the teachers they become teachers. That is where the students become strong. That is where the memorizations become memorizers from. So these are important points that we should keep in our mind, that when we should be from those who memorize, who study, who learn, and then later on, inshallah, we become from those who teach and be from those who lead the people in regards to aspects of their religion. Then he says, point number 3, that the one who is living in the madrasa, the institute, that he acknowledges the different conditions that may have been placed so that he can establish its rights. And whenever he can be from those that is not in need of any form of monetary aid from the different institutes, then that is more befitting. Meaning, if he is able to not take any form of support from the institute financially, then it is better for him not to take it. Especially in the different institutes in which there are conditions which are restricted, as the author mentions, or it is hard for those who are teaching in that place, or they have the jobs they have made hard upon them. As some of the fuqaha of his time, he says, rahimahullah, been trialed with. And he says, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for being happy with that which, being suffice and happy with that which He has granted us of a generosity in good and in health. And then he says, if him trying to attain some form of sustenance for himself will put time, waste his time, or take him away from studying, or he is not from those who has a specific job or specific type of trade or a specific type of skill to attain this sustenance and to support his family, then there's no problem with seeking support from the madrasa by way of that, so that he has the intention of making himself free for seeking knowledge and benefiting the people. But it is important that he establishes all of the conditions. This is another point, that as a student, we are the first and foremost, if there are conditions placed, we are the first and foremost to establish those conditions and follow them. We don't break rules and conditions that are placed. We don't break rules and conditions that we have agreed upon that are placed. Then he says he holds himself accountable based upon that. And it is not permissible, or he should not think of himself if it is sought from him, or he is being criticized regarding that. Meaning he is taking now some aid and support from the madrasa so that he could study. Example, he starts becoming lazy. He's not studying no more. He's not coming to the lessons. So he's criticized upon that. These are the conditions you met. These are the conditions that are placed for you that we're giving you this, but you have to be from those who study. You cannot be from those who are not a student. And you stop becoming a student. Then when you are criticized for that, you should not be from those who hold something in his heart against that. But rather, he should see that to be from the ni'mah of Allah, from the bounties from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and thank the one who is advising him. And thank him based upon that advice. Because he says that he is thanking because this is saving him from falling into something haram and a sin. When you agree to a condition, and you agreed to take this wealth, for example, based on these conditions, now you're breaking those conditions. That is a sin. So this individual is helping you and saving you from falling into that sin. And he says the intelligent one is the one who has high aspirations, and he has a soul which is raised and honorable from the lowly dunya. I mean, his heart is not attached to the lowly dunya. And this is important, that a student should be from the first and foremost to, if he agrees to conditions, that he fulfills them. And that he holds himself accountable for not fulfilling those conditions. And that he constantly holds himself accountable in trying to meet those conditions. And this is important, that a person have high aspirations, and that his soul not be too attached to the dunya. If he loses it, he loses it. If he gets it by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he gets it. But he should not be from those who are constantly chasing the dunya. If he does not get the dunya, he is sad and he is torn inside. No, rather his soul should be looking at that which is higher, and that is the hereafter. He should not be too attached to his dunya. If he attains it by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he attained it. But if he did not attain it, his heart is not attached to it and constantly trying to attain it. He holds himself to higher aspirations. And this, if a person is like this, has high aspirations, and is not too attached to the dunya and that which the dunya comes with different affairs and aspects, then this is the type of individual who will benefit himself and benefit the creation. He will benefit himself because his aspirations are high. He wants to reach the top regarding his knowledge. He does not want to stay low. As the scholars mentioned, that when you seek knowledge, do not be from those who seek knowledge to become, the teacher in the masjid. Be from those who want to become like Shaykh al-Islam Taymi rahimahullah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses who He blesses. If you have high aspiration and you put the effort into it, then Allah blesses you. And you may be from those who the ummah goes back to. And then secondly, that you be from those who are not attached to dunya. If you are not attached to dunya, then you'll benefit the creation. For if you are attached to the dunya, it's going to be hard for you to benefit the creation. So it's important that we take these two affairs, we pay attention to two affairs, that we have high aspirations, and that we are not too attached to the dunya, and that our soul is not attached to it, so that we may benefit ourselves, and then after benefiting ourselves, we benefit the creation. We'll stop with this inshaAllah and continue next week. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.